My name's Jim Gilman. I'm a local potter. Today we're having an open studio tour. I'm one of the 19 potters or artists in the community that are on the list through the Bray's 60th celebration for their anniversary. And if you don't know, the Bray's a really, really important spot in the ceramic world. So, I mean, I'm fortunate that I got to study out there for 10 years, albeit I was never a resident, but because I lived in the community, I got to take classes from a lot of the greats in the ceramic world. So I feel very fortunate and blessed to live in Helena. I started taking classes at the Bray in 1981. By 1991, I realized I needed my own studio. I retired from state government 2 years ago. 2 years ago. That's great, because now I've got my time, all my time is my time. So before that I was a part-time potter, and I always had Christmas sales. I've had Christmas sales since 1985. Now I get to dedicate more time slowing down and doing what I want to do on the piece I'm working on. I mean, that's the distinction between being retired and not. It's like, okay, and not that I produce more work, I don't necessarily, but I believe it's higher quality, more detailed. My kids grew up following me around at the Bray while I took classes. So obviously in those days in the 80s, we went places you couldn't go today at the Bray. Of course, a lot of it's been torn down, but I've got photos that span decades of the artists at the Bray as well as the structures, and it becomes part of your life if you get hooked on clay. It is so cool. So yeah, my platters have the scene when you first pull in the Bray driveway. You can see that scene, and I think the photo was taken in probably February or March, so there's some snow on the ground. It's kind of cool, but you can see all the beehives and the different kilns. And I've got, recently I've gotten into this underglaze ink, very fine detailed lines. So I've done the cathedral, I've done the Capitol. I'd like to draw on large platters. Painting is my background. However, as I get older, I get more and more colorblind, and glaze is perfect for a colorblind guy. Just perfect, because you don't see what you get. So for me, it's all about the process. Once my pottery is done, I want it to sell. I want it to go away. I want to just keep making it. You take something from the earth and you mold it, you shape it into a form you like, and then for me, that's the canvas. I've now made the canvas for which I need to decorate, and depending on what the form is, determines what I'm going to decorate. So with a large platter, I kind of get after that 2D, kind of doing a scene or doing an abstract drawing. With my larger vases, it's somewhat drawn to the wood-fired effect, even though you can see I'm not sitting in a wood kiln. This is a gas kiln. So, and I like the glaze chemistry part. This is going to sound so weird. Maybe many potters aren't. I like to do the glaze chemistry part and figure out, I'm going to make a glaze that looks like this was wood-fired. So I'm always testing glazes. It's a never-ending learning process. So, I'm not confined to just making a bunch of cups or a bunch of platters or a bunch of vases. I kind of do it all. Not everything works out, and sometimes it's like, okay, this cracked, but I'm going to it's yard art now. And you might see out there's a totem out there, and if you look closely, you'll see, well, it's cracked, but it wasn't when I put it up. I didn't realize the condensation inside a hollow pot in the winter would cause the freezing of the ice. The moisture inside would actually blow the pot apart, even though it was a hollow container the water couldn't get into. But learn and live. So there's some stuff that's out around the yard, and some of it's good and some of it's got some flaws. I kind of think that everybody has an artistic streak. It's kind of funny because I recently joined the Helena Public Art Committee, and there's, the economic times. It's like, okay, well, who needs art? I mean, you stop and think about who needs art. Well, what does art do in our everyday lives? If you don't have a play or production or a movie to go to that was created by an artist, who's going out to dinner afterwards? If you don't have the Bray people making pots, if you don't have a potter making a handmade thing, who's filling the cup that you don't have with coffee? I mean, there's a far-reaching economic impact that you'd think, well, art's superfluous. It's not. It's actually something everybody has to do, whether they know it or not, and it comes out of their spirit. It makes us healthier people.